Welcome to Discover Indie Film. I'm Jeff Howard, and I have Josiah Polhemus with me. Hey, Josiah.
Hey, Jeff.
And I haven't called you Joe. You're just going to be Josiah to me.
Great. I mean, it took me a while to embrace that as a kid going into a name like that. But now that when I embraced it, I'm like, yes, anyone who...
Right. So as a kid, it was a little bit Joe. So someone who grew up with you
would call me Joe.
Like
yeah.
Dwayne.
And my wife, yeah.
And your wife.
Yeah.
But you're Josiah. There
Thank
you
you.
go. I like it.
It makes me feel a little more special.
It's funny. My wife tried switching me from Jeff to Jeffrey when we first met. And
Didn't go.
Couldn't stick. Because that's the name when I'm bad, right? That's what my mom shouted.
Jeffrey.
Yep, you got it.
But what does she have a little nickname for you?
That
you care to share?
Well, I do all the... I guess I'm going to share it. Here you are making me talk about... I do all the cooking in the house, so I'm chef-free.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
like
so I'm
that's
the chef.
Really cute.
So I'm not...
We can be cute, right?
Yeah. She had another cute name that I will never speak aloud. But yeah, I've become chef. And it's funny because now the college... my stepdaughter's a college freshman now, and she still calls me Joffrey. So it's a mix of Jeffrey and Joffrey. I hard to explain, but I answer to anything.
I don't think you're in trouble when you get called those.
No. Thankfully, you don't get in trouble much once you're middle aged. Fair enough. All right, so people should listen to the podcast before this one in the Discover Indie Film podcast feed because that was a great interview with you. Got to know you much better. Got to talk about. I won't go through the whole. You'll hear. Someone has to listen to that one to hear the whole introduction of how your co-director Dwayne Anderson was involved with Sherman Oaks Film Festival a couple years ago, and then But you're here because you wrote and co-directed and were the lead actor in The Falling, which was at Sherman Oaks Film Festival in 2025, just last year. Doesn't it seem like a long time ago? Or
that's funny. Yeah, it does seem a little long ago.
Like, I guess 5 months.
I think I can't quite remember, but I think I made a film in between.
You've made another film since then, which is kind of impressive. There you go. But we had your LA premiere of The Falling, and your film took home the Filmmakers Award for Outstanding Originality in a Horror Short. There you go. And you guys chose horror. Could have chosen sci-fi, because honestly, could even been drama. Like it definitely is a one of those complete stories that obviously these genres don't count.
Yeah, we were actually kind of kicking ourselves for we should have just submitted it to just whatever, not like the niche genre slots for different festivals. We thought we probably should just put it in the regular slot because you're not expecting that in the regular slot. But if but then when you're competing against other sci-fi things, it's probably a little harder, to get in.
The funny thing is people always ask us, and I can proudly say this is true. We do not look at genre category when we're making our selections. It's only when we're giving out the awards.
Oh, I see.
Because we believe pretty strongly that comedy and drama and horror and sci-fi and action and art house should not be competing for the same award.
No.
And the funniest film in every festival is never gonna beat out the cancer drama for best overall. I joke as a cancer survivor, I wish it weren't true. I wish it weren't true. I wish that the jurors of an indie film festival are more impressed with drama when it comes to the awards. And I'm like, I think everybody knows comedy's harder. It's pretty easy to make a tearjerker about a cancer patient. It's pretty tough to make people laugh.
Yeah, I just saw that documentary, the Mel Brooks documentary. Did you see that?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, it's just so... if you're, in the 70s, if you saw all those films, you're just
all of them.
Oh, God, this guy. And he, no one's funnier. And he mentioned what you said, that that joke, dying's easy, comedy's hard.
It's true, though. It's so true. It's so true. Well, anyway, so that's the introduction. People should listen to the podcast before this one to get to know you better, because in this one you're answering the Discover Indie Film 4 questions, which is just a fun way to talk about film, and I think we all know it. Well, I like to say it doesn't necessarily reveal who you are,
Yeah.
But is there anything more fun than hearing I love hearing that someone's favorite film is my favorite film. And I also love hearing that like they're overrated as my favorite film. Like it's fun to disagree, and it's fun to feel kinship. It's just, cinema is our campfire, right? It's our storytelling platform.
And I think there's an appreciation I have of just getting to talk about films and this idea that having the dialogue, having the conversation about it may change your mind about the film. Like I could say, oh, I think this is overrated. But if you said something that contradicted that, maybe you'd convince me otherwise, which I think is important because, I feel like sometimes people will say things about a film and then, it's like, well, you said this about that film, and based on my own taste, like 5 years later, I might see a film and be like, I don't know why I loved that, or I don't know why I didn't like that so much. I came back and watched it. It was great. What was I thinking? So I feel like it also changes.
You can have I actually remember, I'll just share. I remember a total awakening about a film, Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
The amazing film, Nicolas Cage and Elizabeth Shue.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw it, it didn't click for me.
Yeah.
And then I was on a date and she said to me, I love that film. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, for me, it's just like two lost souls finding each other. My brain exploded because I was obviously, and the next time I saw it, I was like, I just thought it was perfect. I thought it was a perfect film about two lost souls. So there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I owe her one, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that I can not like a film, but then even be curious about why don't I like that film? And that means that film maybe has something, So I like thinking of it that way too, that I'm flawed. I'm not going to always have a great taste, or I'm going to have I feel like every critic has this too, where they just have a blind spot about certain, genres. And you're just like, God, doesn't that film critic understand that they always love this type of movie, or this actress can never do wrong, but everyone else is like, they're not so good in that one.
And no two people are the same, and no two art is subjective.
Yeah.
And there's always value. There's value to opinions, and we should respect each other.
These are all disclaimers.
That said, you're about to tell us 3 of your favorites, if you want to jump into that.
This is so, I just have to say that, I've heard other people on your podcast, and some people mention television shows, and, for me, just the things that have only come out in the last 5 to 10 years. And I'm just thinking like, God, I go back so far. I'm going back into the 70s. So a lot of my references are going to be, pretty out there, old. But I'll say, okay, so my 3 films I'm thinking about. There's too many on this list, but I think I'm gonna go with Network.
Oh yeah.
Just because I came to that later, and I think that it's all about. It's very cynical, but very powerful, and I also liked the kind of dystopian future it showed. And then great actors in it. I realized that I gravitate towards great acting because I was an actor. So, and I love a good story or a good plot too. And I think it's Patty Chayefsky who wrote that. And I think Patty Chayefsky is a great writer. Okay. Now, and then I'm thinking of King of Comedy, with Martin Scorsese, and Robert De Niro. I just loved that I didn't.
And Jerry
Lewis. And you never think of Jerry Lewis as being able to deliver a very serious, being a drama. And his performance is fantastic. I think it's, sort of Oscar worthy. Sandra Bernhardt's in it. And also I just love that it's not the Scorsese movie that people really know that much. And then I kind of want to do a little tribute to Greta Gerwig with Little Women. I think it's like, I actually love Frances Ha. I love Greta Gerwig for coming up the indie film, the sort of mumblecore circuit. And I think one of the first things I saw her in was Baghead, which is a Duplass brothers movie. And she was in a she was in a T West short film that was like a tribute to 80s horror. And I just loved watching her trajectory going from that to then be like, you know, because I think I identify with like being an actor and then wanting to, feeling like you have more to say. And so watching her start writing and then start directing and then to see her get to like a film like Little Women, which I thought was a really good take on that, which is a beloved story. I also wanted to mention, you know, I want to promote women directors because, you know, it needs to be out. There needs to be more of that. She seems to be a really, you know, pioneering a lot of that, and I think has power now. So that's really exciting. So I wanted to give her a little shout out.
Honestly, I always have to mention that I think in a lot of ways Barbie was an amazing film.
Yeah.
And one of the most amazing things is that they got it made. Like, it was so rule breaking in so many ways, and to take an iconic cash cow like the Barbie doll and make a film with positive feminist messaging as well as comedy and really a bizarre plot that a lot of people can't even follow with different worlds crossing over. I just think amazing, just amazing that it got made, and then audiences loved it because it was something different.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a fun phenomenon, and
like the phenomenon of it is what I respect most, and then just to get it.
Yeah, that you transform something like that and can give it a face that ends up being feminist. When people, I think of Barbie as the opposite, and turning that on its head was really cool.
Yeah. So kudos to Greta for that.
What do I say next? What am I
up to? Oh yeah, we got all three. So the next one, and I was tempted to give you a fourth, but it's healthy to move on. Question 2 is a film you feel is underrated.
Oh yeah, that one's a little tough for me. Let's see. Gosh, it's funny because I'm thinking of like, what's the one you think people should see? Well, I don't think this is underrated, so it's kind of a weird one, but I wanted to throw it in my favorite films. So I'm going to do a little plug for PTA's Hard Eight, his first film. I can watch that movie over and over again. I think that Gwyneth Paltrow's performance is my favorite of her performances. Like, that's my favorite she did. I think the other leads are just fantastic. I personally respond to father-son relation, people finding family with others, and I really thought that was so touching that a guy who, well, you know, the plot twist is a really good one, but sort of like a kind of like a father looking for a son surrogate and a son looking for a father surrogate. Is a great, and then the backdrop of Las Vegas, I can really see how that put him on the map.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great one because I think it probably is. I'll give you that. That is underrated because everyone focuses on, you know, some of the later greater works, so to speak, like as I throw my hands in the air saying the word greater. But yeah, when he made Hard Eight, you know, he wasn't even sure he could get that made.
I know. After I was, you know, because your questions made were like, oh, I had to do a little research. I went down a little rabbit hole and I saw the interview where he talked about how hard it was for him to complete that or even get it distributed, and then he had to spend his own money to get it distributed. And I was just so thankful because honestly, of his films, that's the one I can just watch over and over and over again, particularly for the actors' performances. Which I think is one of his strengths too, is how and Philip Seymour Hoffman's in it. And, you know, he has just like, I love that there can be a character that's only in like a couple scenes, but you feel for that character. And when does that happen? So he's kind of the master of, I think and then he went on to Boogie Nights and the same thing where you're just seeing a character maybe in a couple scenes, but you feel like there's this whole story behind them. And you feel for them and you care about them. And it's all based on this idea that you kind of love the world that he puts you in. and then you get to see the little nuanced characters within it.
No, I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I won't say more. All right. So the next one, and I won't kill the question. I'll just ask the question. Feel free to answer any way you want. Is a film you feel is overrated?
This one, I have these ones where they win an award, and I'm like, maybe for the one before, or the one after, but not this one. I think that the movie The Blind Side is overrated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Did it win? I forget what it won, but
Best Actress.
Best Actress, yeah.
Yeah.
My one of my best friends of nearly 50 years, he's never laughed harder than when we were in the movie theater in Century City and a trailer for The Blind Side came up. And as the trailer closed and they said, whatever, coming in April, I just whispered to my friend, I go, white people are awesome.
Exactly.
He laughed so loud. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll never have a better one-liner than that. Because there was so much wrong with that film.
Yeah,
but its heart was in the right place.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
but also
I feel
her performances are almost always wonderful, right?
Well, she's so charming. Like, who's more charming than she is, and so funny. Like, such a funny actress.
Yeah.
I mean,
but she deserved an Oscar for like some of her funny roles.
Yeah.
Not for that one.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's just that I couldn't get past, the precocious kid and little brother, and and just sort of this idea that like the kind of feeling I have is like, aren't we past this? Is this still really happening?
I remember the football player whose life it's based on said, "Look, I love the movie, but I didn't need."
Yeah.
My mom, because he calls her mom. My mom did not have to tell me to be tough on the field. I was always tough. Like, the scene where she's like, "I want you to," he didn't need that. He just needed to be loved and supported. Yeah. I bet the true story, that's one of the things about Hollywood. When Hollywood rewrites people's lives, and then I go on to Wikipedia and read the actual biography of the person. I'm like, the true story is better. Even Freddie Mercury, whatever. All right.
Right.
We have one question remaining,
okay,
which is a lesser known film for people to seek out.
Okay, because I'm older and, you youngins just never going to know any of these movies, but it's okay. If you ever decide you're going to go back into the archives, these are good ones. And I don't think hardly anyone knows this movie at all, but it's a movie that Richard Pryor made about his life called JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. And it's just so moving. And it feels like the one place I feel that Richard Pryor actually got to sort of be serious and real, because I think he was an incredibly brilliant person who could have done lots of drama too. He got pigeonholed into comedy, of course, because he's a great comic. And that in itself is amazing. But he had a lot to say, and he had a very traumatic upbringing. It had beauty in it too, but it's a really powerful story told well. And I don't think anyone gave it, I don't think it got great reviews or anything, but I just thought it was so touching. And it reminded me of another movie that I love called All That Jazz, which is the Fosse movie, which has my favorite performance of Roy Scheider. And it had a similarity where you're telling a story about someone's life, and you're going back and seeing memories of it, and then going back to the present, which is, in the case of Richard Pryor, it was when he had his accident after
he caught fire.
He caught on fire from
crack pipe.
Crack, yeah. And facing his past and how he got to where he is.
I love what you said about him, because he's not that well known, I think, and the only people who speak of him are like the stand-up comedians who say, that he was one of the greatest stand-ups of all time.
Yeah.
But there was always depth and pain to his stand-up too. Like he was a complete storyteller. He was a storyteller.
Yeah.
And had the world been different, he probably would have written and directed way more films.
Yeah. I've forgotten that Blazing Saddles was co-written by him.
He could, and the studio wouldn't let him be the lead. They had to cast Cleavon Little because they were afraid. I don't know what they were afraid of.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and then he would then later become like a major acting star, with the Gene Wilder movies.
Oh, those were so. I was addicted to those as a kid.
Yeah, and Dwayne and I, the co-director of The Falling, we would go. There was a summer where there was this movie Silver Streak that starred Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor, and I think that was one of the movies that really put Richard Pryor on the map too. For those of us who were around at that time. And I think we went to watch it like every other day. Like there was a time where we were just going to the movie to see it, in the theaters were the only place you could see movies at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, God, why can't I name the others? It's funny because Silver Streak was the Wilder Pryor film that popped in my head first, but I know there was like at least three.
Sadly, I know some of the, so Stir Crazy was
Crazy,
the
of course.
follow-up to that one where they're in prison together.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, and I think we all, they couldn't do no wrong at that point. And then the other ones, I think it wasn't quite as magic after that, but those two really popped,
Well, I'll blame the studios because Lord knows, the weird thing about the studio system was, or maybe still is that once you prove you can make them money, they try to control you more on the next one. Instead of just giving you carte blanche and saying, oh, okay, you're talented. We let you do what you want and you make us money. Instead, it's like, okay, you made a lot of money last time. We're going to control this one more and make sure you make it more like the last one. And that's not how you make a good movie.
No. I always love it when they talk about, a studio giving you pure freedom to do, once in a while, studio executive will really have that philosophy and get it and leave them alone, and then there's that great show, what's it called, with Seth Rogen?
Yeah, the studio.
The studio, thank you. And showing like, oh, I just want, how they make fun of him, like, I just want to go in and give my one note to the actor on the set, and they're like, oh no, get him away, please let's direct him over here. He's about to do it again. Please, bring him over here. But that idea of like, just let them create the magic, trust that they'll have the magic, I was going to say I'm producing more, not only am I doing the writing, well, it's mostly because, I always think like, who wants to be the producer? But the producer on independent films, I think, is actually the most important person, and they are gold. They make, they're the ones who are. I'm not trying to tout myself here. I was trying to say that I've worked on other independent films, and if there's a good producer, they make your film look like gold with very little, and it sets up the director and the actors to actually have a shot.
Absolutely, yeah. When the in fact, I've had many a director on the podcast say like, oh, I had to beg a friend because if you're producing while you're trying to direct, especially on an indie film where you're always short people. It's just if someone can take on that producer role, and Lord knows I've had a lot of writers even say to me, I don't want to produce.
Yeah.
But somebody had to, and if I didn't, it wouldn't get made. Yeah, the producer really does get it made.
I just always hope that the creatives appreciate it, and they understand how much that person is doing for them. That's what I always, when you've been on the independent film and you're, whatever you're the actor, you're the director, and in many of my cases, I had to sort of be a co-producer because they just needed help. But then when you see the person who's like managing all the stuff so that like, oh my God, we have locations that make it look like we have a lot of budget and they're doing it with nothing, that's the person, and they find all the people. And, so I feel like a shout out to independent film producers, because I know as a creative what you do, and I hope other creatives coming up don't just take those people for granted, because they are the heart of a production,
I hope they don't as well, and if they've ever tried producing their own indie film, while also focusing on the creative side, then they'll know to appreciate that producer.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Dwayne, because when I first met Dwayne, he was producing, and his writer director was very super talented, but I always was like, does this guy know what Dwayne's doing? Every little he's making all these things happen and making this work, and because those movies were good, and I was like, this is coming from production, the producers getting you good lighting on your set, and getting you really good sound, and getting you a really good sound mix, and all these things that the creative is like, I don't know, they just put the sound on later. I have certainly been guilty of that myself too.
Well, it's fair enough. But yeah, Lord knows there's a million moving parts.
Yeah.
And yes, it's the most collaborative art form in human history. It just is. There's just so many artists come together for it.
Yeah. I mean, even our little films, it's like, oh, we have like 30 people or 40 people in the credits at the end, and this is supposed to be the smallest budget possible,
Yeah, I know. And sometimes I'm guilty of, sometimes I'll say, do you want to thank, people who helped contribute to the film? And then the answer is always, if it's an indie film, every name in the credits mattered, right?
Definitely.
There's nobody who, if someone's mom came and brought food to the set
exactly,
so that people could eat and keep working, that had to happen that day, or performances were going to be terrible by the 8th, 9th hour.
Or that was the only payment that the actor got that day.
That's true.
The
That's
meal
true.
You gave them.
Hopefully that parent is a good cook.
Chefry.
Oh yes.
Sorry.
By the way, I'm not a good cook. I'm just the best cook in this house. So in the land of the blind, the one-eyed is king.
What's your go-to meal? I just have to know.
Actually, I make the latest is I'm pretty good at. I grill a salmon burger and then cut it up and put it in a salad. We're trying to be really healthy around here.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Although honestly, I'm just recreating shit from restaurants.
Well, I feel like everyone does that.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I don't have this ingredient, so I'm going to replace it with what I have that's close enough, and then maybe then it becomes yours.
For sure. Although I guess this is totally looking for praise from the world, but I have made a wonderful breakfast every day for my wife since 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. She's probably made breakfast for herself 3 or 4 times.
That keeps you married.
But the funny thing is she's like, no, you just do it better. I'm like, what?
There's a little love in there.
There's a little bit of love, yeah, because let's be honest, I think she could toast bread. But I make a nice eggs. But anyway, I'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Before I start talking about other silly recipes. But I will tell you.
That's for your cooking show.
The funny thing, I know. The real reason she married me is when we were dating, we were binging Game of Thrones together because she'd never seen it and I already watched the whole thing. Or, it was like season 3 or something. But every time we sat down to watch Game of Thrones, I made an ice cream sundae that was 2 spoonfuls of peanut butter melted in the microwave, then 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream, some chopped up banana, and then chocolate syrup on top. And the hot peanut butter with the cold ice cream and then the chocolate and banana. She fell in love with that sundae first. And then I came second. And that's why I'm happy. And that's why there's a roof over my head.
There's a Pete, what's that guy's name? The comedian Pete something. He's, oh God, what is that guy's name?
Pete Holmes.
Yes, Pete Holmes joke where he talks about sometimes have you ever eaten a pizza and it's just so good that the love for it spills out to your wife? You're like, oh, this pizza's so good. Oh, I love you, honey. That's what you got with the sundae.
That is, I mean, honestly, food is Food is actually a love statement. You're right. It is a love language. Yeah, feeding. Well, heck, why do our pets love us?
Yes,
it's not for who we are. I wish it was, but
yeah, with a little you have a little tuna smell on your cheek or something, and they're like, "Oh God, I love my owner."
I mean, dogs are. I love dogs more than anything, but they wouldn't love us if we didn't feed them.
Yeah, I mean, I think any meal I make, and now we have that joke in our house where it's like, "Oh, this stir fry is so good. My love is spilling out to you. I love you."
I love Pete Holmes.
Yeah, he's
excellent.
Quite funny.
All right, well, I will do the wrap up, which is, all right, everyone listening, check the show notes for links to Josiah's work, including both in the past and upcoming. You'll also see links to discoverindiefilm.com for this podcast and everything that grows out of it. On social media, it's always at DIFWins. These are all clickable links. Then also at discoverindiefilm.org. That is the nonprofit that runs Sherman Oaks Film Festival and Film Invasion Los Angeles. Film Invasion LA is in the summer, and Sherman Oaks Film Festival is in the winter. It's just because we couldn't pick a name when we were starting, and we A/B tested, and then they both survived. And then the third festival to mention is Film Invasion Lima in Peru. We launched this year. There were so many false starts for another Film Invasion. There were all these people kept approaching and going, "How about a Film Invasion in Seattle? How about one in Denver?" And I'd be like, "Sure, here's how much work it is." And then they'd be like, "Oh, I thought you would do all the work and I could just like show up." I'm like, "No, I'm a little busy with these two festivals." The good news is they grew. So anyway, but Lima happened, and maybe another will. You never know. But very proud of the team down in Lima running that festival. So thank you.
Sounds exciting.
Chevy and Pilar, you did a wonderful job. All right.
All right, Jeff, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for listening.